Alaska, the land of towering mountains, dense forests, and long, dark winters. For most people, it's a place of breathtaking beauty, but for others, it's a place of terror, a place where things lurk in the shadows, just out of sight. This story is about a man named Eric, a seasoned hunter who had spent most of his life in Alaska. He was used to the vast, unforgiving wilderness, used to the silence that could drive anyone mad. But nothing could have prepared him for what happened that night. It was late fall, and Eric had been hunting alone in the remote wilderness, miles away from any sign of civilization. He had grown accustomed to the solitude. At least, he thought he had. The days were getting shorter, and the nights colder. But it was the stillness of the forest that began to weigh on him. The oppressive silence broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the cry of a distant animal. On the third night, Eric set up camp near a small creek. He built a fire, cooked a simple meal, and settled in for the night. The sky was clear, and the stars above seemed to twinkle with an unnatural brightness. As he lay in his tent, trying to sleep, a sound shattered the silence. A soft, rhythmic tapping, like a knock on wood. It came from somewhere deep within the trees. Eric's heart raced. The sound was too deliberate to be an animal. He grabbed his rifle and stepped out of the tent, scanning the darkness. The wind rustled the trees, but there was nothing in sight. He shrugged it off as the wind playing tricks on him, but the sound continued. Closer now, unmistakable. Tap. 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 His breath caught in his throat. The sound was coming from behind him. Slowly, Eric turned, his eyes adjusting to the dim light. He saw something, a shadow, moving between the trees, just out of reach of the firelight. For a moment, it seemed to stare at him, then disappeared into the darkness. Eric froze. He wasn't alone. For hours, he listened. The tapping sound never stopped, but it didn't grow any louder. It seemed to follow him, moving with him as he shifted his position by the fire. He tried to convince himself it was just a bear or a moose, but deep down, he knew it wasn't. This was something else. That night, the wind picked up, howling through the trees like a chorus of voices. Eric could hear whispers, faint but unmistakable, carried by the breeze. The words were too garbled to understand, but they were coming from all directions. Then the tapping grew louder, frantic, more erratic. Eric grabbed his rifle and scanned the trees again, his mind racing. What was out there? What did it want? As he stepped closer to the edge of the campfire's light, something caught his eye. In the darkness, just beyond the trees, a figure emerged. It was tall, impossibly tall, its body bent unnaturally, like it had been twisted or contorted. Its face was hidden in shadow, but Eric could see its eyes, wide, white, and unblinking, staring straight at him. The figure took a step forward. Tap, tap, tap. Eric's blood ran cold. His instincts screamed at him to run, to get as far away as possible, but his legs wouldn't move. The figure took another step, and the whispers grew louder. He could almost make out the words now. "Join us!" With a sudden burst of adrenaline, Eric bolted toward the tent, grabbed his pack, and sprinted toward the direction of the nearest road. The figure didn't chase him, yet it followed. Eric could feel its presence, just behind him, like something lurking in the shadows, always a step away from reaching him. The tapping continued, rhythmic and unrelenting, until he couldn't hear it anymore. Eric didn't stop running until he reached the safety of a ranger station days later. He didn't tell anyone about what had happened. No one would believe him. But Eric knew what he had seen. He wasn't the first one to experience it. In the deep, dark wilderness of Alaska, there are whispers of something that has lived there long before humans. Something that waits, tapping, always just out of sight. Something that claims those who wander too far into the night. They say the tapping never stops.